Welcome to another 3rd edition battle report online. Kingdoms of Men versus Northern Alliance. 2300 points. The scenario is kill. Alright, let's look at our Kingdoms of Men list. We have a Horde of Footguard with the Indomitable Will and the Brew of Strength. A Fanatics Horde with the Mead of Madness. I'm going to just assume that it does stack with the Wild Charge. A Pike Horde with Indomitable Will and the Hammer of Measured Force, 2 polearms regiments, one with Indomitable Will, 2 regiments of knights, one with Caterpillar, other with Striding, a giant, 2 cannons, the captain, 2 wizards, one with Boomstick and the other one with Banechant and the Inspiring Talisman, and lastly the assassin. Alright, let's look a little bit at deployment, and this is the first turn as well for the Empire. I grabbed a random map off of Universal Battle, and that was a huge mistake. I don't know if you see the big chunk of rocks on the right hand side and the house on the left hand side. Well, a horde will not fit between the table edge and those 2 items. So, huge mistake without really looking at the map and measuring things on it. But, you know, most generals in real life don't have much choice of the battlefield, so I guess that's how we're going to deal with it. The Kingdoms of Men army from the left to the right, the giant, one of the cavalry regiments, I think, with Caterpillar. I think that one's Striding. The magic user was hidden in between them with Inspiring Talisman, Banechant, and Fireball. Then the next unit of knights with the Caterpillar potion, a cannon, a regiment of halberdiers, another cannon, the Pike Horde, my Foot Guard Horde with the captain behind them. Over on the right you can see the stupidity of what I did to the table edge, and my Fanatics are there along with the other polearm regiment, and the assassin's a little tiny dot there. The Boomstick Wizard is actually setting in the edge of the pond for cover, so he can shoot those archers as they've emerged from the woods there. Now across the table we have a bunch of clansmen. So on the far left you got clansmen with a unit of foxes behind it, unit of housecarls, a bolt thrower, and then 2 units of clansmen, another unit of housecarls, another bolt thrower, another unit of clansmen, some foxes with the bolt thrower behind them, then 3 regiments of archers, the ones that have the frozen thing, and then behind them yet another unit of foxes. Okay, I did get the first turn, and my left flank just stayed still to shoot and throw spells. In retrospect, I should have moved the giant up behind the house because he ended up getting bolt throwered quite a bit through the game. The pikemen and the foot guard did move forward. I had that nice field, so I knew that any charge it was going to make against me was going to be hindered, so that was going to help me out. The halberdiers and the fanatics were in such horrible position, all I could do is move them forward and try to get around that rock. I should have just, in retrospect, just deployed all 3 of those units online and not worried about it. And instead, I ended up screwing myself. Alright, the assassin rushed forward behind the rocks there, trying to get in position to start throwing knives at people. My magic user with the boomstick ended up wavering one of the archer regiments down there as they emerged from the woods. One lightning bolt I think hit the housecarls for 1 point, and then the combined shots of both cannons did 4 wounds to that unit of clansmen. The cannons this game never impressed. They did not do anything near as well as the last game I played them with, and this, of course, that's just luck. So anyway, I think next time I might try the 3 ballistas instead of the 2 cannons, just to see what happens with that. So he moves forward very aggressively. He does have shooting this game, which is unusual, but no characters at all in his army, and that might come back to haunt him at some point. But the over on my left flank, his bolt throwers and stuff did 3 wounds to my giant. Over in the middle, I only lost 1 wound on my foot guard, but they were continually victimized this entire game with shooting. The foxes on the right side went trying to go around the rock to threaten my halberdiers and my fanatics and my assassin, and so I'm going to have to do something to address that. So I wasn't in any super hurry to do anything because I had a missile advantage. You wouldn't think it after you've seen my dice roll in this game, but I did. Where I did well was the assassin went ahead and wavered the snow foxes on the right hand side. That was pretty cool because they were coming around to threaten my guys. The everything else just kind of sit pat. I got the 1 unit of clansmen up to 8 wounds from the cannons, which was nice. I really thought I would have more wounds by now, but like I said, the dice were not kind to me this game when it comes to shooting, and so that was about it for the turn. I mean, there wasn't really going to be any. I wasn't really in any mood to charge in first since I had such good defensive guys. So that was it for me. All right, Craig moved ahead very strongly, trying to jam me up. So I was going to have to do some charges next turn. Um, moved my Even though I moved my giant over, he continually got pounded by shooting. I don't think there's anything I could have done about it. He was just rolling really, really well with his shooting attacks. And so, like I said, everything kind of moved forward and jammed me up. My foot guard got wavered from something. I want to say it was from shooting. I think maybe it's just a lucky boxcars roll. I don't think it was from just the sheer number of casualties, but that was another unit that was punished by shooting during this game. For some reason, the Northern Alliance shoots better than elves now, and I don't know about that, but like I said, they did a good job of beating up on me from a distance this game. His whole line kind of moved up. I mean, I was going to have to do something this turn and start to initiate some combat. On my right flank, you can still see that I'm kind of in a rock and a hard spot trying to get to his army to even do anything to him. Okay, so I had to do something to um, eliminate the impasse, and one of my knight units and my pole arms charged and destroyed the 1 unit of that was already wounded by the 2 cannons during the turn. My other unit of knights destroyed the snow foxes. The On the right side, my pole arms came around the corner to start messing with the all those archers, but it was really the tiny dot to the right of the rock is my assassin. He was the one that was really going to deal with all those guys. I moved the rest of the troops up to support in the middle there to support my wavered unit of foot guard, and he was doing the same thing on his left flank, trying to unass that last infantry unit to try to get it into the battle along with those housecarls. Alright, so the Northern Alliance decided it was time to strike back. The housecarls charged into my unit of knights that had just broke the foxes. A infantry clan unit went ahead and charged my other unit of knights that had just finished off the wounded unit of clansmen. His clansman unit went ahead and charged into my foot guard, and the reason why is because I rolled snake eyes on the stupid snow foxes, and so there they were blocking me. I hate that rule. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So I mean, there's got to be some rule where if you triple the number of wounds that the unit has, regardless of the snake eyes, they don't stow. But anyway, it didn't happen, and so I was screwed. And so the intact clansman unit charged into my great swords. I'm sorry, my foot guard. So the housecarls had absolutely destroyed my unit of knights. the Klansmen actually bounced off the knights and they were wavered. I just backed off and shot them and just tried to get in position for something else. Um, my foot guards were destroyed, but I had him kind of in a rock and a hard place between two clans. Two hordes, one of pikes and one of fanatics. Right in front of his clansman horde is the general, and the general is a mighty hero, so therefore he has to be killed. You can't just blow right through him. So that'll be instrumental in the next turn or so. But I had a couple of his hordes in pretty good positions to take them out, and so it's just a matter to see what he needs to do to extricate himself. So his clansmen went back into my knights, and I think it was his turn to roll crappy dice, and they managed to stay. His shooting really knocked the heck out of my pikes this turn, putting 6 wounds on them. Um, Finally, over on the left flank, his housecarls and his other unit of clansmen are really getting into the game. I had eliminated in the bottom right hand corner, the assassin had already killed one unit of archers, the foxes, and was going after another unit. Um, his clansmen had charged the general and wavered him. So the general basically holds up the whole thing, and now his flank is to the wind from 2 different directions. So in the middle top, the fanatics flank charged the clans unit and destroyed it. The knights and the halberdiers charged the other clansman unit and destroyed it as well. My knights were teetering on the edge with nine wounds. As I recall, I think that I pointed out that my pikemen could no longer be shot because their leader point was no longer on the hill, and they were no longer 50% on the hill. So I was trying to take some refuge from getting shot in that turn, with the game darn near over. And then the assassin eliminated, yes, his 3rd unit, another unit of archers. You can't see it, but there's actually a magic user up in the edge of the lake, and the magic user was kind of weakening the unit as well, and then he would go in and finish him with the combination of shooting, because the magic user had boomstick, so that was 6 shots, and then the 5 shots from the assassin. Pretty good amount of damage, output between those two to pick off chaff units. So this is the last picture of the game. Must have forgot to take some more. So the over on the left flank is really where the action happened. My knights had been eliminated, I'm pretty sure, by the housecarls. There was another unit of clansmen. I think my pikeman had taken them out and then turned toward the housecarls, and on his turn he had charged in there to finish the fight, but nothing happened. This is, like to say, the final position of the game. The assassin did finally take a wound and did not eliminate that last unit of archers, but he had done a really good job so far. Both of my cannons had survived, but the shooting in this game was useless on my end and totally superior on his end. So it was a tough game. I think I've got a note somewhere that I had 1,035 points left, and I won by 390 points. So that tells you it was a pretty tough game. It's just that his units are so pricey. If you don't kill all of them, you can lose the game just because of a bolt thrower or something like that. I mean, there's almost 300 points of bolt throwers down there on the bottom line that haven't even been touched. So that accounts for a lot of the points in the list that were remainder. And the housecarls are a fairly expensive unit as well. So in the end, the Kingdoms of Men win the kill scenario over the forces of the Northern Alliance. I thought my army did a great job. I'm just going to tell you right off the bat that Craig totally surprised me with his army list, with all those hordes of very, very tough clansmen, and then a really decent elf shooting phase, essentially. Did a lot more damage to me than I thought it was going to do. And kudos to him. The only thing I thought his list lacked, I think I would have sacrificed something just to have a couple of scalds and a thane maybe with the Inspiring Talisman. It really cost him. Anytime there was a missed test, they were done. So that really weakened his army up, and so I didn't have to, win melees twice or shoot things twice because I was getting them on the first go. That helped a lot and was instrumental in winning this battle. Now, just a couple of things. My list is pretty much my standard list, and that I've taken and kind of perfected over the year. I got some tweaks coming in my next game, but just wanted to try out kind of my stock list that I don't really consider it over the top or anything else. It's just what I like to play with. It just fits my play style. Now, there was a couple of units in it that I haven't tried a lot. The first one, I've got to say, was the captain. And the captain, the next game I play is actually the third game I've used him. And he is almost, if you're going to use the infantry line style play like I'm using, the captain is essential. Having Inspiring and Rally makes your, atop the Indomitable Will, makes your infantry line so strong. I think maybe the only one that might be stronger could be the Rordia one with the Shrine. But the captain really helps with this, and I've not even used the reposition a die 3 units thing yet. I keep forgetting that he does it. It's just I want him there for the leadership. And I also think that with him there, between, like, if you have the 3 hordes like I use, I really don't think you need to worry about the ASB anymore, unless you just have another reason for needing him. I think it saved me some points by using him over my usual combination of characters. And so if you like the infantry line style of play for the Kingdoms of Men, I really strongly suggest the captain as the way to go. Now, another model that I've used now for several games that I really enjoy is the assassin. And the assassin is just the king of mayhem. There's something, once you get him close, there's something he can do every time, whether it's charging in to help with a melee, or whether it's shooting. It's just being annoying, blocking stuff up. For the points, I just can't really picture a more harassing unit on the table. Now, I am pondering maybe the next time taking him with the Wings of Honeymaze or with the scouting ability and seeing what that would do to him. Probably just let him get in the game a little bit sooner. But I think with the Wings of Honeymaze, he actually does become a true character hunter, and now he's more of a harassment, skirmishing type guy. So I think the Wings of Honeymaze is going to be worth the points, because I think I'll recoup the points the first character I charge into, especially something weak like magic users or army standard bearers. So the assassin, he may stay in the list from now on. Just haven't finished really experimenting with the full loadout on him yet, but really have enjoyed using him. The things in the army list that didn't quite do what I wanted them to do, the cannons were, this game, were awful. I mean, the last game I played, the cannons were average, which was fine. But in this game, they were just horrendous. Really didn't do much of anything. I mean, they really kind of crippled one horde just because of the wounds on it. But honestly, that horde should have had several more wounds. I mean, just the odds of it, it would have been. So the next game I'm probably going to try the ballistas instead. I'm not sure they're going to be any better, but I mean, they're going to hit on 4s at least, and that should help if there's some wide open tabletops there. The question is where to come up with the extra points, or you just do 2 ballistas and take the 50 points and use it on something else better. Kind of a toss-up. I think 3 would be the optimum to use at any given time, but I don't know that for a fact yet. I mean, 2 might be enough just for harassment, which is probably all I need. You just hate to start investing too many points in shooting, because once it comes to melee time, they do nothing, and so becomes a useless part of your army. And I favor less and less taking shooting in these Kingdoms of Men army, and just trying to bump up the using magic items and stuff like that to buff units and make them a little bit better each time than the shooting really doing a whole lot to help them out.